Esse é o primeiro vídeo da série Sharing Knowledge aqui no canal Inglês na Sua Casa, e onde a gente quer te dar dicas de como aprender inglês. Então esses vídeos serão feitos totalmente em inglês e com amigos especiais que têm muito para dividir com você. Se você preferir, pode ativar a legenda. Eu sou a Pamela Inkel e hoje quem tá aqui comigo é o meu amigo Carlos Kopp. So guys, from now on, we're gonna talk only in English. The main idea is showing you that everyone is different. Everyone has a different way of learning and that's okay. There is no right or wrong. But there is one thing that really counts, your discipline. Now, I'll ask Carlos some questions so this way he can share learning tips with you guys. Carlos, tell us a little bit about your learning process. How was it? And did you follow any method or attended any schools?
I actually didn't follow any methods. I always studied in a public school, but even studying in a public school, I was lucky enough to have a very good English teacher. And so I learned the basics from the language there, and the rest I was practicing at home, firstly with video games, later with movies, and then songs. Songs was like what helped me the most. And that's very important because when I was actually practicing a song or playing a video game or watching a movie, for me it was having fun, not studying.
Your motivation, yes?
Yeah, I had this wheel of understanding what was happening by myself and not using any kind of tools like subtitles and stuff. So I think that helps me a lot.
Okay, cool. And how long did it take you, you could notice, you could communicate and being able to understand?
Okay, so the first language classes I had was in 5th grade, and the last language lessons wasn't actually language lessons, but was a conversation class that I took. I think putting everything together, if it is to put in numbers, it would take 10 years. But that's because I was very lazy and I didn't practice as much as I should. If I had practiced every day for a good deal of time, I could have shortened that by maybe half or more than half than all of that.
Okay, so you believe people can do it faster?
Sure.
And how do you believe listening, reading, writing and speaking, the 4 abilities are important?
They're all important together. But I think it will depend on what the person specifically wants with her or his learning. Some people just want to study abroad, so they focus a lot on reading. Some people just want to visit new places, so they focus on listening and to understand. But I believe that when you get studying and you evolve your English or whatever language you're learning, you end up putting all of them together and increasing your abilities together. They complete each other.
Nice.
In a way.
But in the beginning, which one do you think is more important, if there is one?
For me, as I said, I didn't feel like studying, but thinking about it now, going back, I remember that I focused on the listening and reading, because as I said, I was mostly with songs. So I was reading a lot and listening a lot. I've always been very worried about my speaking. So that's why I choose songs that I liked and started paying attention very well on how they pronounce that specific words or why they pronounce that way instead of this way. So I think speaking is very important.
Did you use to repeat with them?
Sure. I started reproducing what I was listening and reading and consequently singing together, so singing along.
All right. Nowadays, Carlos is a teacher, and thinking about your students, which one do you think it's more difficult for them?
I think for them, for my students, as far as I see, is the speaking. And I think it's because when you're in an actual, real situation that you need to speak with somebody, you don't have much time to think.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you were on a conversation, so you need to answer right away. You don't have time to think. If you have to read, you have time to think on what you are reading. If you are writing, you have time to think about what you are writing. Listening, you can't think too much because you get lost too, but speaking is the worst part because you really need that to be fast.
And if you could give them any tip, like what would you say, how they can improve it?
You have to dive in the language, actually. Really, like, be surrounded by it all the time. By listening to musics, watching movies, avoid Portuguese or your mother language subtitles the most you can, and really be surrounded by it. Live it.
Live the language,
yeah,
yes.
Live the language.
Okay. And how do you believe they can practice here in Brazil, like without going abroad?
Okay, at the beginning, when I didn't have like a very rich vocabulary, I used to speak with myself.
That's a good one.
Yeah, like I was at home and for everything that I was doing, I tried to create sentences on my mind. And sometimes, to not sound very crazy, I was, yeah, I even spoke them like out loud, right? So like you're doing the dishes and you say, okay, so now I'm doing the dishes, later I'll go to the supermarket. Things like that. Form short sentences, practice with yourself. Singing helps a lot too. And later, if you get it, when you get in a good level, you can try a conversation class at some specific school if you like.
Okay, nice. Do you think grammar is important, and how do you think it's important?
I always cared about grammar, for me. Like, I always wanted to understand everything, how it was used. I don't think like you need to know exactly like that if I'm saying I have done, I'm using present perfect, or if I say I did, I'm using simple past. But you need to understand how to use it.
How it works.
So I always cared about it, for me. But I understand that some people that like they don't have this commitment to the language. As I said before, sometimes people just want to go to Disney World and like enjoy the most of it. But for me, I always cared about it because I always wanted to have a good level of English. So I think if you want like to take tests or maybe find jobs, you should care about it.
Okay, so it depends on what you want.
Yes, for me.
And do you believe it helps your students?
Yes, it helps. Most part of my students, it helps.
Why do you believe people struggle to learn English? Why is it so difficult for them?
For my students, I think it's because sometimes they don't have a proper motivation. Like someday it just comes to their mind that they want to learn English, but like without a real goal. You know, like why do you want to learn English? I think you should think about it a lot.
So setting a goal is really important.
Yeah, setting a goal. And
as you said, you didn't have a goal in the beginning, yeah? That's why it took so long, like 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing that ends up like creating this barrier is the fact that sometimes they want it too fast. They don't have patience. So you have to practice a lot, but patiently. It takes time, a good deal of time for everything that you're going to do. If you want to do something, you have to do it right, and you need time to do it. Not only for language, everything you want to do. And I think those are like two of the main things that disturb people in this case.
So guys, it was a really nice talk to me. I hope you all have enjoyed as much as I did. And for you, Carlos, did you have fun?
I did. It was very nice. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And remember, dive in the language and don't quit. Go for it, set your goals and just go ahead.
So now leave them a quote you like and believe to inspire everyone.
All right, there's a quote from a rap group called Fort Minor that says, I think it fits not only for language learning, but for everything you gotta do, you need 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% of reasons to remember the name. Yeah, it's good. Helps a lot.
If you like videos like this one, leave your comment. This way you know if you like it or not.
Don't forget to give your like, share with your friends, ring the bell down here, and subscribe to their channel.
Alright guys, thanks for watching and I see ya. So, Carlos, how was your learning process? Can you tell us a little bit of... a little bit of...
A little. Like the idea of the... Damn it.
Ok,
And being able.
ok. Consegue gravar de novo essa parte?
Do começo?
Yes, please.
Por
Só
quê?
essa parte da pergunta. Não, pô.
Não, porque tá desligado?